Morning. Hope everybody's doing well. You guys are excited about the season as we are. I know you guys got a lot of questions, so I'm ready to answer your questions. Don't be so fast.
Can you just talk about how dominant your defensive line looked in this preseason? Do you expect that to carry over to Sunday?
I was very excited the way we played. I thought we had a great camp. I thought the guys really have definitely bought into the system and what we're trying to accomplish. And I was excited to see that we were flying around. You know, the things that we talk about, the physicality, the effort, our ability to finish. So we definitely did that. And it's something to build on. As I talk to the guys, this when the real bullets start flying this season. So I'm excited about where we are. And yes, I definitely expect us to continue to do what we've been doing in the past.
Has talked quite a bit about having more freedom under you than he's had in the past. Why is that important to you to give players that? What do you see out of them when they have
Well,
that?
number one, I think it really gives the accountability. You know, it gives ownership within the defense, and that's what we talk about all the time. Is that accountability, trust, and the commitment. But I think when they have ownership in the defense, I think they perform a little bit better. And as I tell those guys all the time, I want to hear what you have to say. Doesn't mean I'm going to do everything, because I think we still need to work within the confinement of the defense. But Miles is doing a great job along with all the other guys up front. So I'm excited about our front four and the things that they're doing.
When you say you want to hear what they have to say, do your veterans give you a lot of input? Do Olivier and Sheldon perhaps give you more input? Where does that come from?
Oh, they do. And what I sort of created a little bit is somewhat of leadership committee within the defense. You know, some veteran guys that I sort of call on. We meet so often, probably maybe 3 times throughout training camp, just to get a feel and a pulse of what those guys are thinking in regards to what I'm thinking. And it's been good, open dialogue, as I said before. I just like to hear what they have to say.
When a team comes in here against Myles Garrett in the very first game with a left tackle that's never played left tackle in a regular season game, it's so obvious that that's going to be a focal point of them to give him help. So how do you plan for the variety of help that they're going to give this guy at left tackle?
Well, I'm sure they're going to, and not just the Titans, but I'm sure most teams throughout the league is going to try to help on Miles' side and try to chip, which I think is going to open up things on the other side for Olivia Vernon, as well as an inside with Larry and Shelton. So we feel like we, talented across the board, that they are going to try to come in, particularly with, being depleted a little bit at left tackle, trying to protect a little bit more and give the quarterback time to be able to get the ball down the field.
Football people and know what kind of defense you have, but do you think the fans are going to be somewhat surprised maybe that they might overshadow the offense?
Well, it's a team effort, so it's a lot of balance throughout what we're doing, offense, defense, and special teams. So it's a long season, and hopefully we can complement each other throughout.
Size up the competition between Terrence Mitchell and Greedy Williams, and just kind of how Terrence responded to, the rookie coming in and, obviously pushing him.
I think he responded well. I think he had a great camp. And competition is something that we emphasize across the board because we want guys constantly trying to work to get better each and every day. Really don't want guys to get into any kind of comfort zone. So I think Mitchell responded well. I think Greedy had a good camp as well, made some plays you guys saw in the preseason game. The biggest thing that we need is the consistency, all right, throughout the year.
When you have an offense that has as many playmakers as this one does that give you the freedom, the license to be more aggressive, take more chances because on the other side, speaking of complimenting the other side, that they can make up for that?
It's not so much them trying to make up for it. It's really, trying to create our own identity. And that's just really been my makeup ever since I've really been in this system. Being aggressive, not really trying to sit back and react to the offense, but allow those guys to be able to react to us. Is it a plus that you feel like you have talent on the other side of the ball that they can go put points on the board? Definitely yes.
How do you see your rookie linebackers? I know Taki, I think it's still hurt. But how do you see them filling in or helping you this season?
Well, Taki has been hurt. Unfortunately, that he missed a lot of training camp and a lot of the preseason games. But Mac Wilson is doing well. I expect those guys to be in the mix. Rather not, you're going to say, well, they're going to start week 4, week 5. I couldn't tell you that. But I'm very impressed right now what Joe and Christian has done. When you look back on some of the film that I saw last year and some of the things they're doing this year, I love the physicality that Christian is playing with. Joe, with his ball skills, being able to play out in space. And those guys are doing a great job of playing downhill, which we emphasize a lot at our linebacker position.
Do you think bringing those young linebackers in then kind of push Joe and Christian a little bit to step their games up?
I don't want to say that. Hopefully they had that, the wherewithal to do it themselves, just trying to be a better player, But again, competition, just like we talked about with Greedy and Terrence out there at the corner position, that it's important that you continue to make sure that you have that.
Do you intend to alternate Mitchell and Greedy Williams? How do you get him Greedy playtime?
It's one of the things that I haven't done in the past a lot. Rotation is always up front because we want to try to keep those guys fresh. Linebackers, DBs, we play. We're going to get into a rhythm. But we're going to do everything we can to get these guys ready to play throughout the year because, once again, they're one play away. So look for both of those guys to be in there at some point in time.
Is this Titans offense, especially to see week 1, the fact that they seem to run the ball more than other teams do, and Mariota's the threat keeping the ball?
Very talented. When you look at their strengths, it definitely comes at the running back position. All right, with Henry as well as Lewis, I think they're very talented at the tight end position. You talk about Walker, who's a dynamic, what I consider really as a receiver, and then Smith in the run game, as well as his ability to be able to stretch the field. So I think those tight ends are excellent. And Mariota, to me, does a good job of really managing the game. They want to try to run first and create that play action. We know that. We got to do a great job of stopping this run game. Henry's a big physical back that loves to play downhill. He's going to try to test the perimeter of the defense. We got to do a great job of setting edges and turning it back inside.
Steve, you don't have to scheme for Odell, but in terms of his elite talent, where do you put him amongst the wide receivers in the league?
I think he's one of the top in the league, if not the top. When you look at his ability to be able to catch the ball out in space and make guys miss, I think that's a threat to any defense. So I think you're always looking for that mismatch right there against Odell, particularly if you put him in the slot, who's going to cover him. So I'm just glad we don't have to go against him during the game.
And so just on a day-to-day basis, having your guys have to go up and match with him?
It makes us better, just, again, competition-wise, knowing that this guy practices hard. I don't know how much you guys are out there, but he's going full speed every day. So our guys are getting a great look, all right, and what it's going to be like game speed come Sunday.
A big physical back like Henry has not played or practiced much this summer for them. And it wasn't just a bubble wrap, it was an injury, a calf injury. Do you plan for a plan B on their part, or do you just expect him to be ready to go?
I expect him to be ready. As I mentioned earlier, I think Lewis is a good back as well. 33 does a tremendous job getting to the perimeter as well and can run in between the tackles. So I think they're going to try to come in and establish the run game. Being on the road, first game of the year, that's what they do, and try to create the vertical shots down the field.
What kinds of things are you expecting from Marcus Mariota?
Again, he does a good job of managing the game. I think, he's not going to try to, force things in there. He's going to check it down, but he will try to take his shots down the field, and I think, it comes off the play action.
How nice is it to have TJ back, and how important is it to have a guy with experience as that third corner in the slot?
Anytime you have veterans in your locker room, veterans out there that's starting for you or playing, it's extremely important because they have what I call skin on the wall. They've been there before, so it's not too big for them, and they know how to respond. So it's great to have them back out there. You know, he missed a lot of time, but he's smart enough to be able to understand exactly what we need to get done. So it's good.
Is that a spot where it really helps if you've done it before?
Oh, of course, you know, because when you look at the nickel position, you know, I say this all the time, is, you know, you're a linebacker in the run game, all right, and then they're going to put you out in space, you're a DB in the pass game. And he does a great job of understanding run fits, particularly this week with what we're going to be able to see and face. So, again, it's good to have him back out there.
What encourages you most about your run defense, considering it's been an issue before you were here?
You know, just really the trust up front with those guys, understanding that everybody has a gap. Don't try to do too much. We emphasize all the time, just do your job. You know, we got to play with violent hands. Those guys do a great job of cutting up front, front level as well as the second level. So we got to stay alive. We got to stay on our feet, use our hands right here, and get off blocks.
I'm sure we've heard that all the time. You have to trust the guy next to you. Coaches say that, but then a lot of times in games it doesn't happen. So what makes you confident that that will not be an issue this time?
Well, I hope it won't be the issue. You know, you never know when you get out there, but I think so far the guys have built that trust with one another, you know, and understanding that it's about the big picture, you know, guys doing their job and everybody being in their gap. We know right now that our corner is going to be a major part of this game this week, as much as they try to bounce the ball outside. So a point of emphasis with those guys as well is, you know, chasing the hip and make sure we keep the ball on our inside pad.
Of us, Devereaux Lawrence was kind of like the surprise of camp defensively. Was it the same with the coaches?
Not so much, because we saw a little bit of that in practice, which you guys didn't see. You know, those guys up front again. You know, I think, and I say this all the time to the defense: everything we do starts up front. Right? It starts with our defensive line and how we penetrate and how we come off the ball. And Devereaux had a tremendous camp. He made some splash plays in the preseason games, and hopefully we can continue to get that going this year.
Mariota in the play action a couple times now, but he's on what feels like his 12th offensive coordinator. Do you expect much to change, or does he do what he does?
Well, I think from a comfort level standpoint, with the new offensive coordinator being the former tight end coach, I think he understands by being around Mariota exactly what he does well, and then also being a tight end coach, I think he's going to lean towards the run game, okay? Dynamic running backs, good tight ends, and I think they're going to try to do everything they can to try to manage the game that way.
You know, move around more, play closer sometimes. What does his versatility kind of allow you to do with him, and just what are your kind of hopes for him this season?
I think you said the key word, his versatility. So we can do a lot. Our safeties are interchangeable in what we try to do, but having that skill set, you know, he can come down, cover in the slot. He's a good blitz off the edge. He has range in the post, so you're not limited in your calls and what you want to be able to do. So he gives me free range to be able to open up the call sheet.
Tougher to prepare for an offensive coordinator that you don't really know his tendencies? He hasn't really done it before.
You know, I think it's tough to prepare, even if that coordinator is coming back, because a lot of teams don't show a lot during preseason, and then that first game of the year, it's really about fundamentals and technique and trying to keep everything, you know, solid. I've been telling the coaches all summer, you know, we got to make sure that we're smart, not trying to do too much, because I guarantee you, pop on that film throughout the league on Monday. All right, the teams that lose the game is going to be busted coverages, you know, guys not lining in the gaps, not getting over, not leveraging the football, because, again, that's what happens the first game. So hopefully the menu is tight for us. We can play fast and fly around.
Miles has talked a lot about wanting to be Defensive Player of the Year, and, you know, he's got a lot of personal goals en route to the Super Bowl that he would like to achieve, and he lost all this weight and all this kind of stuff. How eager are you to see what the sort of new and improved Miles brings to the table?
I'm very eager to see that. I think it's important that guys have individual goals that's in line with the team goals, you know, and if he's Defensive Player of the Year, I think we win in a lot of football games. So I'm excited about that. Special talent. I think this guy has tremendous upside and skill set. So we'll see exactly how great he's going to be this year. I know teams are going to sit here, as we mentioned earlier, try to turn the protection to him, try to chip, try to slow him down, which I think is just going to open up things for other players around him.
Last one, real quick.
We all look at Devereaux Lawrence. I mean, he stands out because, we can see him making the sacks and everything. But with Equale, what did you guys like about him to allow him to make the team?
I think when you look at Daniel, I call him Mr. Consistent. I mean, he's doing everything that we asked him to do. And Daniel may not be making the splash plays, but he's allowing the other 10 guys to be effective. And when you start talking about the trust, as we mentioned earlier within this defense, he's a guy that I trust.